Access Holdings Plc, a leading multinational financial services group, held its second annual general meeting at the Balmoral Hall, Federal Palace Hotel, Lagos. It was an opportunity for the management to engage the shareholders on key developments and agree on key resolutions. The meeting commenced with a 1-minute silence in honor of the late former board chairman, Mr. Aigboje Aig-Imoukhuede, and the late former group managing director, Dr. Herbert Wigwe.
May the souls of our dearly departed rest in perfect peace. Amen.
The external auditors KPMG, represented by Mr. Kaba Okunlola, and the Statutory Audit Committee chaired by Mr. Henry Arago, in their separate statements, affirmed that Access Holdings plc's 2023 annual report kept proper books of account and aligned with the financial regulatory provisions and standards.
In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of the company and its subsidiaries as at 31st December 2023, and of its consolidated and separate financial performance, and the consolidated and separate cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with the IFRS accounting standards as issued by the International Accounting Standards Board, the IFRS accounting standards, and in a manner required by the Companies and Other Matters Act of Nigeria, the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act amended, the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020, and the relevant Central Bank of Nigeria guidelines and circulars. In our opinion, proper books of accounts have been kept by the company so far as appears from our examination of those books. And the company's statements of financial position and statements of comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts.
The members of the Audit Committee of Access Bank Holding hereby report on the financial statement of the year ended 31st December 2023 as follows. We have exercised our statutory function under Section 4047, Subsection 7 of the Company and Other Matters Act of Nigeria, and acknowledge cooperation of management and staff in the conduct of these responsibilities. We are of the opinion that the accounting and reporting policies of the company and group are in agreement with legal requirements and agreed ethical practices, and that the scope and planning of both the external and internal audit for the year ended 31st December 2023 were satisfactory and reinforced the group internal control system. We are satisfied that the company has complied with the provision of CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria Circular BSD-1/2004, dated 18 February 2004. We have deliberated on the findings of the external auditors, who have confirmed that necessary cooperation was received from management in the course of their audit, and we are satisfied with management responses thereon, and with the effectiveness of the company's system of accounting and internal control.
Shareholders voted unanimously to ratify Mr. Aigboje Aig-Imoukhuede's appointment as chairman of the board of directors of Access Holdings plc. They also voted to approve the 265 billion naira rights issue out of the $1.5 billion planned capital raising, and the dividend payment of 1 naira 80 kobo per share, bring the total dividend for 2023 to 2 naira 10 kobo. The Access Holdings plc chairman, Mr. Aigboje Aig-Imoukhuede, provided further insight on the 2024 to 2026 banking recapitalization exercise, the issues around retained earnings, and implications for shareholders.
Issues are uppermost on the minds of a shareholder at this point in time. I think obviously the first is the recapitalization program that the central bank has announced for banks, and Access Holdings, as you know, is a holding company for Access Bank plc, Nigeria's largest bank and one of Africa's largest banks. The other thing, of course, that shareholders continue to seek to understand is returns and how will their company continue to deliver good returns to the shareholders. I think on the issue of recapitalization, first of all, as a group, Access Bank actually endorses wholeheartedly the recapitalization signal of the central bank or the policy. Banks, particularly after periods of significant devaluation of domestic currency, volatility in the exchange rates and the interest rate regime, are always encouraged to build up their capital buffers to ensure that whatever adverse effects may be there within their balance sheets as a result of these dynamic changes in the environment, will not affect their going concern. So we endorse that, it's good and sensible prudential regulation. It's not the first time that the central bank has come up with such policies. You may recall in 2004, when Access Bank had about 3 billion of capital, the announcement, that, all banks had to get to 25 billion. I think that you will also recall, and I share this with shareholders, that between 2004 and 2007, our team, when I was CEO, raised $2 billion of common equity capital. And therefore, if come 2024, Access Bank, much older, much wiser, much stronger, much larger, and significantly respected by the capital markets, over 800,000 shareholders, really raising $300 million in capital is not really much of a challenge. But nonetheless, we believe in ensuring that shareholders, large, small, continue with us on our journey. We have always had a very unique relationship with the capital markets in Nigeria and internationally. They have always supported us, actually, when we come, with a good reason, because they believe in the company and they believe in the performance that will be delivered subsequent to such capital raising exercises. So, we signaled to the market first that we'll be doing a rights issue. What does that mean? It's simple. Yes, we have large institutional shareholders and so on, but our belief is that we must carry everybody along. They've been with us along this journey thus far, and this is not the time when we are going to, say, we're going to raise money, and because a few can do it, then no. Everybody is meant to participate in this capital raising exercise. Now, to the issue of performance and what the market should expect going forward. I think the first thing is that the earnings profile of the group, that we hold as Access Holdco is very it's very robust, and we have earnings not just from Nigeria. We have earnings not just from our African subsidiaries. We have earnings from outside Africa. So as an investor, you always look to see whether there's a deep concentration of where the money is coming from, the profits are coming from. In our case, they're actually well spread over, if you like, 3 core areas. And that is, I think, of significant interest to local and international investors. I think also that if you look at our performance, you will see that, yes, all banks in Naira terms have increased significantly their profitability as a result of the devaluation. But if you look at our books, you will find that it's not a function of holding a long position, which is holding large foreign currency balances as part of our equity. That's not the case. In our case, the revaluation benefit comes simply from the fact that we have significant international operations. For instance, Access Bank UK is, I believe, the largest and probably the highest performing sub-Saharan African bank, that has a license in the UK. Perhaps maybe with the exception of 1 or 2 South African banks. We make hundreds of millions of dollars of profits from the UK, for instance, And so this is not an accounting benefit that comes into 2023. It will continue and continue and continue. And as you think about our operations in France and our operations, across other European and Asian and Middle Eastern jurisdictions, you can see that the foreign currency benefits, of profits in those locations are going to also accrue to us. Most fundamentally, however, is that in the world today, as an investor, when you think banking, you think investments in retail banking, because investments in retail banking almost operate like a utility. It's almost like you've invested in a company that supplies water. And now when you have a retail bank, a strong retail bank that has, if I'm not mistaken, almost 60 million customers, small customers bringing in their money every day, taking their money out every day, and so on, you know that irrespective of how volatile the markets are, how uncertain, policy is, these guys insofar as you give them great service, and the type of digital first service that Access Bank delivers are going to wake up and go to sleep trusting us. And the profits that are generated from serving them properly are profits you can go to the bank with.
Bolaji Agbede, the acting CEO of Access Holdings Plc, highlighted some of the key takeaways from the 2023 financial performance, the implications of the recapitalization exercise, and the transition from the late Dr. Herbert Wigwe leadership era.
2023 financial year has been a stellar year for us. So we've seen our profit before tax grow by about 334%. The first thing that you will look at is our gross earnings, right? So the banking group contributed, they had about 86% growth, right? So they've grown from about 1.6 trillion, right, to about 2.5 trillion in 2024, right? And this, a lot of the growth has come from our the digital transactions and the volumes on our channel. So that has also helped in terms of all the strategies that we have implemented. So we have started getting a lot of benefits from it. So what you will see is our African subsidiary as well as the international banking subsidiary accounted for about 24% of the volumes that you're seeing today. Even the non-banking business, right, in the first 2 years of operations are now contributing about 0.8% of those volumes, right? So those are some of the things that have contributed to the key financial performance that you have seen today. Our 5-year strategic goals are at the heart of everything that we're doing. This is now the second year of our strategy, right? And so therefore what we'll continue to do is first and foremost, leverage on all the wins and accomplishments of last year. What we also will be focusing on is we'll continue to do a lot in innovation because it's important for us to do a lot in innovation. Right. The other thing that we'll be doing is without our customers and delighting them in how we serve them, then we'll actually not be able to grow. So we intend to do a lot in terms of on customer service and growing that bit of our business as well. And then also, right, we're in the business of managing risk, right? So also ensuring that we continue to enhance our robust risk management framework in order to ensure that, you know, we keep giving this stellar performance that you have seen today. So everything is in motion for us to make sure that we surpass, right, our 2023 performance. So in terms of the proceeds from the right issue, which is we're hoping to get about 365 billion naira, is first and foremost we'll be giving it to the bulk of it to the banking group, right? So first and foremost, it will enable them meet the CBN's capital requirements. And what are they using it for? So part of the things that they're using it for is number one, right, on as working capital requirements for the investments that they've done in the African subsidiaries, as well as some of the growth in the international subsidiaries that they have. So if you look at all the headwinds that are coming along, right, it's important that you have a robust capital plan, and this is one of those things that will also help them in terms of the capital plan. The other thing that we'll also be doing is some of the amounts, not as much as the banking group, of course, will be going into the non-banking subsidiaries as well. Our notice actually came out before the CBN's circular came in. So what we do when we do our 5-year planning exercise, we always ensure we do a capital plan as well to support it. And so as we saw, part of the plan was actually to always raise monies. And if you notice, we've asked for approvals from the shareholders to raise in different forms up to $1.5 billion over the life of our strategy. This is just to always ensure that we are, right, that we have a robust capital plan and that we're at the fore of everything that we do. So it's not in alignment with that. Now you asked the next question, I'm coming to you. The next thing that you asked was, is this consistent that this CBN's move? So first and foremost, if you look at a number of the initiatives that the central bank is coming up with, number one is to stabilize the currency, right? And what they've also looked at is they want to ensure that the Nigerian banks, right, are able to go neck to neck with other African banks, right? So if you look at the share capital and the devaluation, if you do nothing about it, then there will be a problem. And what the central bank is trying to do is to ensure that there isn't any systemic failure. And that's the reason why they're doing what they're currently doing with the capital raising exercise. So a lot of the things that they're doing is to make sure that the financial institutions are in a position to continue to support, right, private sector growth of the Nigerian businesses. Now, in terms of the management team, what you will see is over time, right? So I have been in Access Bank this is my 21st year in Access Bank. So if you look at members of the board, you find out on an average, right, we have Sheikh Aigboje, who has been 22 years, Roosevelt Ogbonna, 22 years. So in terms of the management, we are all united in who we are, what we want to do for Africa, and what we will do also for our organization as a whole, right? And also for us is about the legacy, to make sure that, all the dreams and aspirations we all came together with Herbert, that we all work together to fulfill those dreams and to actually ensure that Africa will not be disenfranchised. That was something that was important to Herbert. That's something that is also important to us. We need to make sure that Africa is great, and this is our own contribution, using our own financial platform to make sure that Africa is great.
Shareholders also spoke on the recapitalization and the expectations from Access Holdings Plc in the years ahead.
Access Bank, there's no doubt. When the offer opens, they will raise the money, even surpass it, because the way they do things, carrying their shareholder along, sensitizing them to take your right. But if shareholders were unable to take their right, people are standing by. They will take those rights. And that's why we're appealing to every shareholder, no matter how smaller you have currently, try to take your right. Even possible, if you have the means, increase your holding in assets. In terms of capital appreciation, in terms of dividend payout, if you get them all aboard. Even if a bonus comes, because the bonus is another problem, because if there's increase much we're going to have, no bank will continue to issue you bonus, But capital appreciation and dividend payout, you should expect, so that, you can reap. Even if you want to borrow, capital appreciation, you can use that money to pay off and sell off and pay off, and return earning. So there's a future for Access Bank.
First of all, I will begin by thanking CBN for asking us to do the recapitalization. Otherwise, many banks would have gone down. So it's a good initiative from CBN, and I'm confident that Access Bank will even have oversubscription because of their performance, the price of the share, the confidence shareholders have. With the departure of Herbert, people thought that it would take time for the bank to be on its feet. But you can see what is happening now. We are paying good dividend. And we are going to, I'm calling on all shareholders to ensure that they take their rights up. And you can see the confidence shareholders have on the bank. We are not doing any public offer. We are raising 365 billion naira internally. This shows you that Access Bank is a bank that is strong, reliable, and I'm sure we are going to have oversubscription.
We don't have anything to fear because we know Access Bank will continue to grow, because Aigboje Aig-Imoukhuede he has been an insider from the inception of the bank. In fact, it was during his tenure that the bank achieved all this recapitalization and it became stronger. So I think with his tenure now as the chairman, and then with the excellent selections they made of the of the holdings company, managing director, chief executive, I think we have nothing to fear. You can see the lady also, she's well, grounded, she's committed, and I'm sure Access Bank is going to even grow stronger.
Access Holdings Plc declared a profit before tax of 729 billion naira in its 2023 financial year, which was a 234.72% growth from the previous financial year 2022. The payment of 1 naira 80 kobo dividend, now totaling 2 naira 80 kobo for the 2023 financial year, shows the company is on a steady trajectory of profitability and value creation for shareholders. The recapitalization exercise and the rejig of the 5-year 2023 to 2027 plan of the Access Holdings Plc is expected to reposition the financial services group to scale and achieve sustainability in its operations.